Was 8 when I met the glowing boy in the garden. Then they started vanishing. I was searching for Nana's silver ring when I stumbled upon him. She'd gifted it to me before she passed, and losing it felt like losing her all over again. Our house was always dim. Mom hadn't paid the power bill again. That ring was my only comfort. We lived mostly by candlelight. When Mom drank herself into unconsciousness, my brother and I were left in the shadows. Nana had been our light, literally and figuratively. After school, we'd walk to her place, eat warm meals, and watch cartoons. But once she was gone, it was just us and the dark. That evening, the sky was bruising purple when I knelt in the flower bed. Ross, my brother, had a habit of locking me out if I stayed out too long. He was scared. Dad used to rage if dinner wasn't ready. Dad vanished a year later, taking Mom's savings with him. The silence he left was almost a relief. I'd sit outside at night, watching the neighbors' TV flicker through their window. One time, I watched a whole episode about astronauts. That night was too cold to linger. I wore Mom's oversized coat and clutched my flashlight. Ross pressed his face to the window, making goofy kissy faces lit by Mom's phone, our only light source. Ross had declared himself man of the house after Dad left. When we had electricity, he'd demand microwave meals like royalty. I didn't expect him to leave the door unlocked, so I prepared to climb the drainpipe again. I focused on Nana's ring, digging through dirt and crushed petals. My fingers brushed beer cans and broken stems. Then a voice chirped, "It's over here." I froze. The sound came from a drooping rose. Was I hallucinating? Bobby, my classmate, once said his dad ate mushrooms and thought he was a bird. We'd spent a sleepover Googling fungi. Mom had planted edible ones years ago, but this wasn't that. "Hello? Can you not see me?" the voice squeaked. I shined my flashlight into the bush. A glowing orb hovered, pulsing gently. I crawled closer. The light shifted into a tiny figure perched on a leaf. Glass wings, teenage face, annoyed expression. Mom used to blame fairies for missing toys and sneezes. She said they chased Dad away. Ross thought it was nonsense, but I was curious. I'd asked classmates if they had fairies in their yards. They laughed. Mom once said, "Help a fairy, earn a wish. Hurt one, and your bloodline will suffer." She claimed she'd freed a fairy prince from a neighbor's jar as a child. Maybe they'd protected her. The boy's scowl softened. "Hi," he said, tilting his head. He looked about 17. Not the tutu-wearing sprite I'd imagined. He wore scraps of human clothes, Dad's old shirt, denim strips, and a satchel made from Mom's purse. I leaned in. My ring sat atop his curls like a crown. "Can you take this off?" he asked, wobbling. I gently removed it, revealing a real crown, woven flowers and mushrooms. "I shouldn't be talking to you," he mumbled. "Dad doesn't know I'm here." I wondered if trapping him in a jar would help me sleep. His light was mesmerizing, threading through his wings like veins. I wanted to touch it. Was it warm or cold? Mom said she'd held a fairy once. I introduced myself, hand trembling. He blinked at me, skin glowing like porcelain. "Jude," he said, hopping onto my palm. "Prince Jude." We became friends. He showed me his world. His father, the king, was distant. Ross eventually caught me talking to Jude and thought I was chatting with a bug. But when he saw Jude's glow, he was hooked. Jude offered to light our home in exchange for our full names. We agreed. He perched on the microwave, illuminating our kitchen. He danced across my dead phone screen, making it flicker. Ross was amazed. "You can make stuff work?" Jude shrugged. "If there's enough of us." One night, Ross accidentally sat on him. Jude buzzed angrily, lighting up the room like a flashbang. Ross apologized, and Jude forgave him, sharing stories of his reluctant royal life. Fairies don't eat candy. I offered him a gummy worm. He spat it out. "They're carnivores." He showed me his sharp teeth. I flinched. Still, Jude was my friend. He visited nightly, glowing orange on my windowsill. Mom never said goodnight, but Jude's light made me feel safe. When I turned 10, I went to France for a school trip. I asked Jude to watch Ross. The trip was miserable. Food poisoning, chaos, and no replies from Ross. I texted him 50 times. Nothing. Back home, Jude sat quietly on a daffodil. I wanted him to miss me. He didn't speak. I offered honey, his favorite. He finally whispered, "My friends are disappearing." His glow was intense, cheeks pale, eyes sunken. He curled up in my palm, vulnerable. Jude's father hated humans. Called us parasites. Jude disagreed. "I have 2 human friends," he said softly. But he was to be crowned soon. No more visits. He didn't say goodbye. Just flew off, a fading light. I tried to find his friends, set honey traps, drew maps. I wanted to prove humans were kind. Ross stayed quiet, buried in books. I gave up halfway through summer. Jude was gone. I made new friends but never mentioned fairies. I was ashamed of our home, overgrown lawn, broken gate, absent mother. With Jude, I could forget the lice in my hair, the lack of shampoo, the shame. Without him, I felt hollow. One day, I came home to a lit TV. Mom was passed out, but the house glowed. I opened the fridge, cold water. I cried. I showered, ate, and heard Ross gaming. "Did Mom pay the bill?" I asked. "Obviously," he grunted. I saw a faint glow under his blanket. "Flashlight broken?" He nodded. I offered mine. He smiled. Upstairs, I grabbed Mom's laptop. My lamp was blinding. I rushed to turn it off, then froze. Tiny screams. I peered inside. Fairies were taped to the bulb, burning alive. Their skin melted, hair aflame, skulls exposed. I gagged. I pulled one free, Yuri, Jude's brother. He'd once gotten tangled in my hair. Now he was limp, wings charred, face half bone. Ross snatched him, shoved him back into the lamp. "You wanted light," he growled. "Now we have it." I tried to save Yuri. Ross shoved me. "Touch them again, and I'll kill you." He pocketed Yuri like a toy. "They're giving us light." Ross eventually got bored. I freed the fairies, nursed them back. 15 survived. I buried the rest, including Yuri. But the house still had power. I checked every outlet, no fairies. So what was fueling it? I crept to the basement. The generator buzzed. Jude was strapped inside, wires piercing his skin. His light flickered. One wing gone. I tried to free him. He was feverish, bleeding, barely breathing. His eyes rolled. I bathed him gently, but he didn't respond. His glow intensified. I laid him in the roses. I couldn't bury him. I just sat there, grieving. That night, Mom woke up screaming. "What did you do?" I told her Ross had killed a fairy. She lit the flower bed on fire. "They'll hunt you," she cried. "Please tell me you didn't give them your names." I couldn't answer. She chanted, begged, then collapsed. She was arrested for dancing barefoot in the ashes. Ross and I were placed in foster care. Years passed. I lived with 2 moms and new siblings. Then came the call, Ross was dead. A brain aneurysm, they said. But my aunt screamed about holes. He was face down in the yard, she sobbed. Something burrowed into his brain. I was numb. Then Harry, my stepbrother, showed me his toothpaste. Gnawed through. "Termites," I said. Next morning, screams. Harry was face down in the yard. A hole in his skull. I ran to call the cops. Then I saw him. Jude. Older. Crown. Wings still damaged. He sat on the windowsill, smiling. His eyes were wild. He spit something pink, flesh, then saluted and flew off, laughing. I know he's doing this for Yuri. But I'm scared. Does he know I tried to save him? Is he punishing me?